What's up, ladies and gentlemen of YouTube? Boogie2988 coming at you live once again through the power of the internet. And this week, I think I'd like to dedicate my rambling video to talking about the concept of stress. The stress that I'm currently dealing with, what it's like dealing with it along with the other anxiety disorders and issues that I have, and more specifically, how I'm dealing with that stress and how you deal with stress in the hopes that I can learn from you and maybe you can learn a little bit from me. But I will say, and I will acknowledge right here at the beginning of the video, whenever I talk about this topic, a lot of people roll their eyes and like, Boogie, what kind of stress could you possibly have? You're living the dream, you're working from home, you're married, you're happy. Well, you should be absolutely ecstatic all the time. And I am to a certain extent. But what a lot of people don't realize is that for a YouTuber, this is the most stressful time of year. October, November, December, that is your real bread and butter. That's the 3 months that pay for the crappy months in January, February, March, April. When the beginning of the year comes around, we earn next to nothing during that period of time unless we take on sponsors, unless we sell a product to you. The ad revenue is absolutely nothing. But in the months of October, November, and December, ad revenue is through the roof. They pay 3 or 4 or 5 times as much as they normally would. So you have to be very on point. You need to be creating as much quality content that people are going to enjoy as frequently as humanly possible. And so that for me has been trying to make 4 or 5 videos a day, or 4 or 5 videos a week here on the main channel, 2 or 3 videos on the gameplay channel, then trying to stream several nights a week. And all of that is very, very time-consuming. It's time-consuming to do the social media aspect of it and working with the sponsors and doing the phone calls and doing the emails and doing all of that stuff. And that, to me, is what is stressful about it. Like, the actual job itself, I think, is less stressful. It's just the fact that on some days it could take 12, 13, 14 hours a day, and that's every day. There's very little time that I ever have to deal with anything else. And then, whereas I know that's nothing compared to somebody who's raising a family and doing it at a low-end job that doesn't pay enough, because most of the jobs in this country specifically do not pay enough to be able to live off of. I understand that that's nothing compared to that. But I will say that I think it is a little more complicated for me because I do suffer from an anxiety disorder known as PTSD. It's very different than the types of PTSD that soldiers get, but it's still a very, very real thing. It makes me want to... It triggers fight or flight in almost every instance that I become stressed, every instance that I become nervous, every instance that I become anxious. I either want to fight and scream and argue and punch holes in the walls, or I want to run away and give up on it and tear it down and not care anymore. And I have to struggle to not do that, and that adds a lot of extra added stress to that. And then you add the physical pain that I deal with, the back issues and the knee issues, and you add all the depression stuff. Things can be very, very, very stressful for me. Now, that's not to say that it's more or less stressful than your situation. Whatever your situation is, we always learn, and this is important to keep in mind anytime I talk about anything, pain is relative. Even Bill Gates has to fire a gardener every once in a while, and that sucks for Bill. That's a shitty day for Bill. That's his worst day. Even though that would be a great day for the rest of us, for him, that's a terrible day. Does that make sense? Is that logical? So I never want to belittle anything that you're going through. I only want to relate to it, if that's at all possible. So the way I've been dealing with stress this year is trying to make sure that at least an hour a day, maybe sometimes 2, I spend a little bit of time when I'm no longer in pain, when I'm no longer irritated or frustrated, just doing something that I really enjoy. Last night, I was catching up on The Walking Dead. What a wonderful episode. No spoilers. But Negan is my kind of bad guy. I enjoyed every second of that episode. And today it's going to be watching Westworld with my wife and relaxing a little bit of that. Try to find 15 or 20 minutes a day to play a video game I like. I've been trying to do my dailies in my World Quests and World of Warcraft. And I try to separate business and pleasure. So there's a lot of games that I play for the gameplay channel or on stream. But I try to find a game that I'm not doing that with that's solely for me, that I can enjoy on my time. Speaking of which, by the way, one of the most stressful things I'm dealing with right now is I can't stream. I can't stream, which is 1/3 of the things that I do every day. And we're now 6 weeks into the problem with Cox Communications, and they simply don't seem to give a crap. They keep telling me that they don't see the problem, they can't see the problem, and there's nothing they can do about it. And I guess they're simply not going to be able to do anything about it. Well, they have a monopoly on the area. There is no alternative. I have no options. So if they don't fix this, I simply can't do that aspect of the job the business I've created. How infuriating. Talk about stressful. Being on the phone with them every 2 or 3 days just to have them tell me that they don't care and there's nothing they can do is one of the most frustrating things I can do in the world. I don't know why they do not want to resolve this issue or why they can't, but I really, really hope they eventually do. Until then, it's going to be killing me, but that's fine. I still try to, even with the internet and working sometimes, still try to find a little bit of me time. A little bit of me time. And I think that's important, especially if you're married or you have a family, that you spend a little bit of time dedicated to yourself. My wife does the same thing, though. Fortunately for us, a lot of our free time is something that we like to share together. We like to watch the same shows. We like to spend time together. Very rarely do we want to be away from each other. Most of the time, we want to be close to each other. Which leads me to something else that I've really been utilizing when it comes to stress relief, and that is the structured environment I have around me. I think a lot of people take it for granted. Their mothers, their fathers, their brothers, their sisters, their wives, their girlfriends, their husbands, their boyfriends. These are people in your life that are there to help relieve stress and to help you out. And even if it's just something as simply as spending a little bit of time distracting you from the world that you're dealing with, or just existential dread, or, sometimes we're too proud to take money from family members who offer it to us, or we're afraid to even just go spend time with those people, or to do anything except any type of help. I think the people who feel that way are taking what they have for granted. That's something I've not always had my whole life. And now that I have it, I take full advantage of it all the time, possibly to a fault. I am a bit of a vampire in that way, that I could suck a person dry. But that goes as well with my friends and my family, anybody in my life that's willing to help out a little bit. And the act of giving back and helping those people also makes me feel pretty damned good. When I often feel like I can't handle my own problems, but when I can help somebody else handle theirs, that feels pretty damn good. The third thing I will say, and this is maybe a little bit shallow, not advice for everybody, but the third thing that has really been helping me out is this stupid little dog sleeping here next to me. You guys said over and over and over again, get a pet, get a pet, get a pet, get a pet. I thought a pet would be a burden. I thought a pet would be extra stress. Turns out it's the exact opposite. And I'll tell you, I edited a video. We filmed some footage of his birthday celebration, the 1-year anniversary when he came to us, which we called his birthday. I only got 3 or 4 good minutes of footage, but when you finally see that, and I might upload it today or tomorrow, when you finally see that footage, you'll see how grateful this dog can be for a gift, how grateful he can be for a treat, how grateful he can be just to be alive. And that continuously reminds me that he has no knowledge of the pointlessness of this universe or of these existences we share. And if he does, he certainly doesn't seem to give a shit. And he seems to be enjoying every second of his life. That's a constant reminder to me that that's the kind of attitude I need to have. Who cares that a lot of this sucks? Who cares that a lot of it doesn't make sense? He's happy in spite of it. I think I probably should try to be too. So, I don't know. Those are the 3 things that I'm really focusing on getting through this holiday season. My wife, of course, has been instrumental. We finally got her to a point where she was no longer clocking in. Thanks to you guys and the support that you've given us via Patreon or the products that you buy or just watching the videos every day. Thanks to that, she's been able to be pivotal in the business. And I think that's probably the biggest reason I'm less stressed. Not everyone will have that advantage, but that's 3 of the ways that I am definitely handling the stress this holiday season. And I know as we enter this holiday season, with all the extra effort and all the extra time and all the extra money and dealing with family and dealing with stuff that we all have to do, we're all stressed out. How are you dealing with that stress? And if you can talk about that in the comments section below, I will read that advice and maybe I'll find something that I'm not doing that I could be doing. But that said, guys, I hope this video is a little bit useful for you. It's been useful for me to just get it off of my chest. Thank you for letting me rant. Thank you for letting me vent. Thank you for listening to this stuff. I really hope to read your advice, and I really hope it's good stuff, and I hope that you can use some of mine. Guys, thanks for watching. I love you very much. I'll speak with you again soon. I'm going to go be a little less stressed.